Okay, something I want to talk about is change. In this paradoxical universe that we live in, change is the only constant. A lot of people are resistant to change because once we take something on as truth, or once we get kind of comfortable or accustomed to something and we're like, this is the way it is, it can be difficult to consider anything else. So let's see. For example, when you die, that's just a change. But a lot of people are really attached to their lives and they want to stay what they know and what's familiar, and they don't want to venture into the unknown, the unfamiliar, which is life after death, because no one can really say what happens after death, except for those people who go through near-death experiences or like do die and come back. But even still, that's their level of perception of death. That's not our process. Anyways, or like your individual process. Death is going to be different varying upon the individual, but there is an overarching theme. Besides that, change is the only constant. As humans, we don't like change. We don't like the unknown. We don't like the unfamiliar because it's unknown. It's unfamiliar. It's like whenever we're starting something out, like a new hobby, let's say I'm trying to learn how to play the guitar. To start, it's going to be really difficult and I'm going to get frustrated because there's so much to learn and there's so much uncertainty. It's like, what's this? What's that? How does that play into that? But as we work with that energy, like me playing a guitar, I'm just working with it, being like, okay, this does this and that does this. And over time, that continuous effort to learn, to grow, to evolve creates the ability to play the guitar very well compared to when I just started out. So we have to go through this process of learning, evolving, growing. It's like, for example, a seedling. So let's say you have a tomato. Tomato has grown to its fullest. It's on a tree. And then let's say the tomato on a tree, or do tomatoes grow in bushes? Yeah, it's a bush. I don't know, whatever. Tomato drops onto the ground. That was that full life of the tomato. Now the tomato is going to degrade into the ground, but guess what? A new tomato is going to form. If it has the proper soil, the proper care, attention, it will grow again into something new, and then it repeats. That's the cycle we're in. This cycle of, change, going through different phases. And a lot of people are resistant to it. Oh, that's what else I was going to say is we like to play old stuff as if it is the truth and it can't evolve. So we think just because it was that way in the past, it has to stay that way because that's the way it was in the past. That's not true. Things can change. Things can evolve. For example, my perspective changes all the time. What I'm talking about today and what's prevalent for me today is not going to be the same in 5-10 years. There will be overarching themes that are the same, but the expression will be different. For example, I've always been very into spirituality, psychology. That is an overarching theme for me. The way that has been expressed throughout my lifetime has come in waves. And I have believed truths that I now think are lies. So it's not to say that just because I believed it true back then, it has to be true. And it has to stay that way. It doesn't. It can evolve. It can shift. And it could be true for then, to a certain extent. Not ultimate truth, but it could have been a perspective truth. And I'm just fluctuating and changing. In a previous video, I was saying how funny if all life is the search for truth. I do think that to a certain extent, but besides the point. What was I saying? Oh yeah, your truth can evolve, your truth can change. And that is the same thing for understanding, for growing. I don't know, I see like people get criticized for things in the past, and to a certain extent maybe that criticism is warranted, but at the same time allow others to evolve and change, and allow others to be different and have different perspectives, and don't play them like they are their past, because the past was just an expression at that time, and now it's a different expression at this time. Now that's to say, like, let's say I committed a crime like a couple of years ago, then me now, like, being charged in court, I'm still gonna be held accountable for that crime, like, regardless. Like, I committed the crime, I'm gonna pay the price. But that doesn't mean that I'm still a criminal. That doesn't mean that I still commit crimes. Does that make sense? So yeah, allow others to change, allow yourself to change, and don't get so stuck and boxed in to a specific, I don't know, specific way of thinking, being, understanding life and everything around us. Like, allow yourself to change and grow, allow yourself to be wrong and make mistakes, but allow yourself to own up to those mistakes. Something I always say is there is nothing wrong with making a mistake. In fact, that is our right, is to make mistakes and learn and grow from them. The only wrong is when you won't hold yourself accountable for that mistake. That is the wrong, when you won't acknowledge the mistake, when you're holding on to your ego so much, you're like, no. Then that's wrong. Making a mistake though, nothing wrong with that. In fact, that's how we learn, that's how we grow. Now, we shouldn't just do things to be an awful person, like always do things with love and compassion in your heart, but yeah, allow yourself to make mistakes. I haven't been perfect. No one's perfect. No one is perfect. No one on this life is perfect, okay? We can all agree to that. And mistakes are part of the learning process and the growing process. Allow others to make mistakes. Learn and grow, change, evolve, okay? All right, that's all I want to say. I'm gonna leave it at that. Bye, y'all.